I gotta be in Monticello. Now the work at home begins.
Alex, it's been 3 days.
What did I miss?
To talk to your doctors. This is not a healthy solution.
In my home sweet home, I want to give you a kiss.
Hey guys, I'm here. Let's get technical. I'm sure you all are just as obsessed with Hamilton as I am. Why do Lynn and Leslie have to leave? Oh man, Pippa and Ariana are leaving too. What is happening? Non-stop shirt, what's up? It has the lyrics in it! Well, after listening to the Hamilton soundtrack for literally the 45th time, at least according to Google Play, I was wondering to myself how accurate Hamilton really is. I mean, we all know that the musical was based off the book Hamilton by Ron Chernow, but how faithful is the musical to the book? Turns out, pretty faithful. The majority of the musical is completely accurate, a super effective way to teach history. But there is that little bit that's not quite true, and today on Technicality, we are going to uncover the top 10 things Hamilton got wrong. One more thing before we start. The spoiler meter on this video is pretty high, but if you're like me and you've listened to the Hamilton soundtrack so much that you know all the words, there's no plot points here that you don't already know.
My name is Samuel Seabury, and I present free thoughts on the proceedings of the Continental Congress.
First off, Samuel Seabury was a real person who was pretty influential. Much to Hamilton's contempt, he published 4 pamphlets against the Continental Congress, and this is where we find our first error. Wait a sec, I can't refer to Alexander Hamilton as Hamilton. We have the same first name! We're first name buddies! Alexanders unite! Hamilton, the musical, makes it seem like Samuel Seabury published those papers during or after 1776, because the song Aaron Burr, Sir takes place in 1776. We know this because at the beginning of Aaron Burr, Sir, we hear 1776. So since the song Farmer Refuted, Samuel Seabury's song, comes after Aaron Burr, Sir in the musical, we can only assume that Seabury's declarations against the Continental Congress came out during or after 1776. But in reality, Seabury published his 4 pamphlets between 1774 and 1775. A matter of fact, Seabury wouldn't have likely published any pamphlets in 1776 at all, because for part of that year, he, like a lot of other New York loyalists, were imprisoned in Connecticut.
And the gossip in New York City is, and Alexander is penniless.
Angelica was actually married when she and Hamilton first met. She married a man named John Barker Church, who was a businessman and, during the American Revolution, was a supplier for the Continental Army.
My father has no son, so I'm the one who has to social climb the one. So I'm the oldest and the wittiest.
As you've just heard, in Satisfied, Angelica claims that she has no brothers. It's just her, Eliza, and Peggy. In reality, Philip Schuyler actually had 15... This isn't 15. This is 10. I don't have 15 fingers. In reality, Philip Schuyler actually had 15 children, many of which were sons. Side note, Lin-Manuel Miranda claims he conveniently forgot this fact when he was writing Hamilton. Lin talks about this and Angelica's relationship status in an interview with Genius, where he says, quote, "She was married when Hamilton came into the Schuyler sisters' lives. To me, Helpless and Satisfied are a microcosm for the whole story, which entirely depends on who tells it. To me, it's super effective to see the courtship from Eliza's perspective and then rewind the whole thing and then tell it again and see, oh, Angelica met him first. And oh, Angelica and him are like soulmates. But Angelica reads him in a second and knows that she can't marry him, and she's gonna let her sister marry him, and that's her way of keeping Hamilton in her life. The dramatic license I had to take was first making her single and pushing the sons away, because that was a very real thing for women. Like Lynn said, who a woman married was a very real thing back in those days. So if Angelica didn't have any brothers to establish status, the pressure was all on her to marry someone of high regard. By the way, link to the full interview in the doobly-doo.
He's stepping down so he can run for president. I'm stepping down, I'm not running for president.
And one last time, when Washington informs Alexander that he and Jefferson are stepping down, it is implied that both Jefferson and Washington stop politicking at the same time. That's a word, right? Politicsing? Yeah, that's a word. Anywho, in reality, Jefferson resigned in 1793, and Washington stepped down in 1796. 3 years apart.
Adams fires Hamilton, privately calls him Creole bastard in his taunts.
John Adams never actually fired Alexander Hamilton. Alex quit in 1795, which, as you may have noticed, was before Washington resigned. Adams wasn't even inaugurated until 1797.
I may have punched him. It's a blur. Sir, he handles the financials.
You punched the bursar.
Alex never actually punched Princeton's bursar. He did, however, have a feud with the president of Princeton at the time, John Witherspoon. I knew that rhyme was just too good to be true.
Mr. Vice President, Mr. Madison, Senator Burr.
James Madison, Thomas Jefferson, and Aaron Burr weren't actually the ones originally snooping around in Alexander's personal life. Originally, James Monroe and Frederick Muhlenberg were the men with the info, but then Monroe told Jefferson, who then told other people, and you know what happens next.
Piano with my mother. I have a sister, but I want a little brother. Okay.
Daddy, look! In Philip's rap, he proclaims that he has a sister, but he wants a little brother. As you know, Philip was 9 years old that day, and when he was 9 years old, he actually already had 2 younger brothers, Alexander Jr. and James Alexander.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Here's another Philip one. In the Philip-Eaker duel in the song Blow Us All Away, both Philip and Eaker are prepared to shoot their guns after they count to 10, just like any other duel. But psych lol no, Eaker shoots at 7, killing poor little Philip in my opinion, one of the saddest moments in a modern musical. But wait a sec, you say? This is on the list of things Hamilton got wrong. Does that mean in real life Philip doesn't actually die? Is order and sanity restored? Unfortunately, no. In Lin-Manuel Miranda's version, Eaker is portrayed as shooting quickly, acting extremely dishonorably, and just being an overall bad guy. In reality, here's how it went down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10! It's a nice day out. Yeah, they just kind of stood there, awkwardly for a bit, until Philip raised his gun to the sky and Eaker fatally shot him. Side note here, and come on, you guys didn't think I could get through a video about Hamilton and not have 2 side notes? Eaker was sadly never tried for murder. Back in the ye olde days of Hamilton, it was seen as respectful and honorable to raise your gun to the sky, and not shoot the other guy in a duel. If you did raise your gun to the sky and the other guy still killed you, then that guy would have been tried for murder. But Eaker was never tried. Double side note here, 2 out of 5 you, dueling itself was actually illegal, but no one really enforced that or cared, so.
And you won on a landslide. Congrats on a race.
In the election of 1800, Madison claims that Jefferson won in a landslide, while in reality it was a razor-thin election. Jefferson and Burr tied in electoral votes, so when they're tied, it gets passed over to the House of Representatives. More on what happens if the Electoral College is tied here. The House of Representatives couldn't even pick Jefferson or Burr, even after 35 ballots. It wasn't until Alex endorsed Jefferson won. For the record, John Adams probably would have won that election if Alexander hadn't published that 54-page document slamming Adams. You know, the one portrayed in the beginning of the song, The Adams Administration.
Privately calls him Creole bastard in his taunts.
Say what?
Hamilton publishes his response.
Sit down, John, you fat...
And that's it, but before you go, here's a fun little bonus one. Everything isn't legal in New Jersey. Though dueling is just as illegal in New York as it is in New Jersey, the New Yorkers who see Hamilton get a kick out of it. And that is it. Hopefully I didn't ruin Hamilton for you. There are a couple more super minor inaccuracies in Hamilton, links in the doobly-doo if you are interested. One final thing. You'll notice a lot of these liberties were taken for plot, flow, timeline, and really overall dramatic effect. Lin traded these small inaccuracies to make the musical as amazing as it is today. Thanks for watching. Explore on.